So devotees, we're going to sing, actually, I have to manipulate the computer because I'm playing cartons. So let us sing Shad Goswami Astika, seeing we're having a seminar about the 6 Goswamis, then we should definitely sing the song.
Oh, yes.
And it's fairly long. Anyway, let's sing it. Let's sing it. And maybe every night we can read the translation of one of the verses or something. Along those lines. Right, here we go. Krishna Kirtana Gana Natana Paro Premamritam Bonidhi
Krishna Kirtana Gana Natana Paro Premamritam Bonidhi
Dira Dira Jagathriya Priyakaro Yamat Sarapur Hara Vihara Kali Vidito Prabhu Ke.
Jai.
Oh, Premanande. So devotees, you know, we, every evening what we'll do, we will read the second verse and the translation. It's the most famous, I guess you could say, at least. It's there at the beginning of Nectar of Devotion, which of course was written originally by Srila Rupa Goswami. So I'll just read through it. Nana Shastra Vachara Nai Kadipado Saddharma Samstapako Lokanam Hitakarino Tribhuvane Manyo Sharanya Karo Radha Krishna Padara Vinda Bhajana Nandena Mataliko Vande Rupa Sanatano Raghuyago Sri Jiva Gopaliko. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the 6 Goswamis, who are very expert in scrutinizingly studying all the revealed scriptures with the aim of establishing eternal religious principles for the benefit of all human beings. Thus they're honored all over the 3 worlds, and they're worth taking shelter of, because they're absorbed in the mood of the gopis and are engaged in the transcendental loving service of Radha and Krishna. Shri Sad Goswami Prabhu Ke.
Jai.
Hare Krishna devotees. So here we are. First of all, I'm very happy to be here with you all. And I hope you're all happy in Krishna consciousness. Extremely happy in Krishna consciousness. And I mean just like totally happy in Krishna consciousness. We've got a little problem with this thing here. It keeps falling down, so to speak. So let's try it like that. And we'll see what happens. Yes, okay, devotees. Now what's going to happen now? Is Haridas going to garland me? Oh, look. So many garlands all of a sudden. Haridas, come here. Good boy. Very good boy. She wanted it. Oh, Krishna. We will submerge. We are vegetarian, that is, so don't try to eat your brother's hand. Devotees, our seminar is about the 6 Goswamis, and it's such an interesting subject. I've done this seminar a number of times before, I'm sure. So many interesting things come up. There's so much to learn. There's really so much to learn about the 6 Goswamis. They're our great acharyas. So, okay, let us begin. Nama Om Vishnu Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Nadane Namaste Saraswati Dode Gaura Bhani Vajayane Nirvishesha Shrivavari Pasyachati Karane Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadha Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare 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 Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Vanchkalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha. Patitanam bhavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. So first point we can mention just in general about the 6 Goswamis. is that, of course, they're great devotees, but they're not just great devotees. They are eternal servants of Lord Chaitanya. They're eternal servants of Shri Radha and Krishna in the spiritual world. Of course, they're servants of Lord Chaitanya as the 6 Goswamis, Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami, etc. But they're servants of Radha and Krishna as manjaris. Rupa Goswami is Rupa Manjari. Sanatana Goswami is Rati Manjari, and the others are other manjaris. As we go through each day, we'll point out who is who. But, they're so extremely knowledgeable about Krishna consciousness in any sense, but very particularly, they're so extremely knowledgeable about the pastimes of Radha and Krishna and the relationship of Srimati Radharani with Lord Krishna with Radharani. They just got such profound understandings because they are manjaris. Just to get slightly technical a bit, there's Srimati Radharani, and her 8 main girlfriends are the Astasakis, which means 8 girlfriends, basically. Lalita, Vishaka, Champaklata, etc. They're the intimate servants of Srimati Radharani, personal friends. But they don't get so much involved in the conjugal pastimes. When Radha and Krishna start having conjugal interactions, then the Astasakis, they feel a little embarrassed that it would be nicer, it would be better if we just leave them to relish their relationship together rather than sort of poke our noses into their relationship. Yeah, just like we know, I'm sure you all know, that whenever you have Radha and Krishna on the altar, then you don't have Lord Balaram, because Balaram feels embarrassed, and means you don't have Lord Nityananda either, who is Lord Balaram, because he feels embarrassed to be there while Radha and Krishna are having particularly their most profound and intimate pastimes, conjugal pastimes together. So he stays at a distance. Yeah. But, so Balaram, the Astasakis, they don't really, when things reach a certain point in terms of the interactions of Radha and Krishna, they, Lord Balaram, the Astasakis, they just leave them, Radha and Krishna, to have their conjugal exchanges privately. But the manjaris, they're younger. The Astasakis are roughly the same ages as Srimati Radharani. Even Lalita is fractionally older, just very slightly older. But otherwise, they're within a year or so of the age of Srimati Radharani. But the manjaris, if Radharani is like 12 or so, or 13, the manjaris are like 5 6, that sort of age. 7, 8, maximum, absolute maximum, even that's a bit too much. Because they're situated in, you could say, a very, very great innocence. So they're able to participate or assist in the conjugal pastimes of Radha and Krishna without feeling like, it's inappropriate for us to do like that. And they're assisting, they're serving and helping in those conjugal pastimes. So therefore, the Manjaris, ultimately, in that sense, they're closer to, they have more experience of the highest conjugal pastimes, the most intimate conjugal pastimes. Therefore, they know the most. And it's interesting that as the Manjaris, as we said, they're little girls, 5, 6, 7, that sort of age. How old are you, Gurangi?
14.
14. You're far too old. Yes, 5, 6, 7, that sort of age. The Manjaris in Radha and Krishna's pastimes, but in Lord Chaitanya's pastimes, they're full-grown men, great scholars, extremely knowledgeable people, and adults, just to say the least, fully grown adults in there. Anyway, just fully grown adults. So it's very interesting. They're the same people, they're the same persons. But in a certain situation, they're like, you could say children, but in the other situation with Lord Chaitanya, they're adults. And therefore, they are the greatest authorities on the pastimes of Radha and Krishna. Right, okay, and then amongst them, well, there's the 6 of them. As the song says, Rupa, then Sanatan, then the 2 Raghunaths, then Jiva, and then Gopal. Sanatan is the oldest. He's 5 years older than Srila Rupa Goswami. And then Raghunath Das is something like their age, something like. But Jiva is a generation younger. In fact, he is the nephew. He is the nephew of Rupa and Sanatan. Jiva's father was the brother of Rupa and Sanatan, Anupam. So he's a whole generation younger. And same with Raghunath Bhatta. He's a generation younger. And Gopal Bhatta is also a generation younger. Like, 30 years or at least 25 years or 30 years younger. If you're familiar with Chaitanya Charitamrita, then you would know of very famous pastime and just really important and wonderful pastime. Lord Chaitanya preaching to Venkata Bhatta. Are you familiar with that? You're familiar with that? Are you familiar with that? Sort of. Are you familiar with that? You should be familiar with that. It's a very important conversation between Lord Chaitanya and Venkata Bhatta. When Lord Chaitanya was staying with Venkata Bhatta in Sri Rangam, it's down in sort of you might say, northern Tamil Nadu, more or less. And very big temple there, biggest temple in India, of Lord Ranganath. So during the rainy season one year, Lord Chaitanya stayed in Sri Rangam, and he stayed in the house of Venkatabhatta, who was one of the prominent pujaris for the main deities there. Yes, and Gopal is the son of Venkatabhatta. Yeah. So, right, okay. So that's just a little bit of transcendental background, very transcendental background to the six Goswamis. And they descended with Lord Chaitanya to help him in his mission. As we know, Lord Chaitanya only wrote 8 verses, Shikshastakam, which of course are very important, extremely important, but still there's only 8 of them. You know, it's not like a book that they'll fit on 1 page, more or less, or 2 pages, something like that. And so it's not like having Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, and these other literatures, which are extremely extensive. Yeah, so Lord Chaitanya, he only wrote those 8 verses, Shikshastakam. And he left the rest, means like really defining in detail the philosophy of Krishna consciousness in general, and particularly as he presented it, he left that up to the 6 Goswamis. So then, so Sanatan is the oldest, and he's the older brother of Rupa, but still Rupa is considered, not just considered, but it's very clear that he's accepted as the senior, spiritually the senior member of the 6 Goswamis. The one who, they wrote books. Maybe not all of them so much, but Rupa, Sanatan, Jiva, they wrote books. Gopal Bhatta to some degree wrote books. Yeah, so the books of Rupa and just Rupa's position is clearly as like the leader, even though he's younger than Sanatan. And you'll see, it's interesting, in the introduction to Nectar of Devotion, Prabhupada's Nectar of Devotion, you'll see Rupa Goswami, he begins by offering obeisances, offering respects to a number of different people. And he offers Rupa Goswami, the author of Nectar of Devotion, like the original author, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, he offers obeisances to Sanatan Goswami as his spiritual master. But still, Rupa Goswami is clearly considered to be the leader and most important, like that, of the 6 Goswamis. And it's interesting that, like I said, they all wrote books, or not all, but here, let's say particularly Rupa and Sanatan, they both wrote books, which are very important. Rupa Goswami, he wrote 16 main books. He wrote 16 main books, among which Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, or Nectar of Devotion, is considered to be the most important. But then he wrote others, extremely important literatures. He wrote Lalita Madhava and Vidagda Madhava. I mean, you may not be familiar with these, I'm not going to really go into them, but they're dramas. They're dramas about Radha and Krishna's pastimes. He wrote Uddhava Sandesh, which is describing Uddhava going and meeting Radharani and the gopis after Krishna has left Vrndavan. He read he wrote very amazing collection of poems called Stavamala. And these are all like Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Nectar of Devotion. If you read the whole thing, I mean, normally we focus on the first, 19 chapters, which is what they call the eastern side of the ocean. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu means the ocean of the nectar of devotion. But then the southern side, from verse 20 to verse, 35, I think, is all about different types of bhavas. And then it goes on to talk about different types of rasas with Krishna. And it's very high level, very, very high level. Sanatana Goswami's writings, of course we have Brihad Bhagavatamrita, which has very high level parts, but it's basically establishing what is Krishna consciousness, what are the higher levels of Krishna consciousness. Then he also wrote Hari Bhakti Vilas, Sanatana Goswami, which is basically rules and regulations, how to be a devotee. And, it's got all sorts of technical information, do's and do nots. And Prabhupada made the point, one devotee suggested to Prabhupada that we should learn all these do's and do nots, hundreds of them. At least hundreds, maybe more than hundreds. We should learn them all because, it's Sanatana Goswami. But Prabhupada made the point that if you try to follow all these rules and regulations, which start, of course, the devotee's day starts when they wake up and then they get up and then they take a bath and they brush their teeth and all that, and then then they put tilak on and they get dressed. There's so many rules and regulations covering that Srila Prabhupada said that particularly for people like us who are a little slow, not so quick on the uptake. Prabhupada made the point that if we tried to follow all those rules and regulations, by the time we got to the point of putting our clothes on in the morning, having bathed, etc., it would be time to take rest that night. Because it's a very involved process if you really get into it. So rules and regulations, it's very much Vaidhi sadhana bhakti, do's and do nots. And Sanatana Goswami tends to write more like that, not always, but particularly Hari Bhakti Vilas is just full of rules and regulations. So Rupa Goswami's writings like Ujjvala Nilamani, which is, extremely detailed analysis of the pastimes, the relationship between Srimati Radharani and Lord Krishna, in great detail and at great length. This is very, very extremely high level. So Rupa Goswami's writing tends to be on a higher level than Sanatana's. Tends to be, a lot of the time at least. So there's a famous verse. Let me just read it, I'm sure you've heard it before. Talking about, glorifying Srila Rupa Goswami. Sri Chaitanya Mano Vishvam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. When will Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada, who has established within this material world the mission to fulfill the desire of Lord Chaitanya, give me shelter under his lotus feet? When will Srila Rupa Goswami give me shelter under his lotus feet? That's part of our Mangala Charana. I imagine many of you, maybe all of you, are familiar with that. So, yes. So let's have a look at the life of, and here's an interesting point. Just before we get into it. The life of Rupa Goswami. Srila Prabhupada, when he moved to Vrndavan, he was in Delhi, having taken sannyas and left home and everything. So, but after some time he moved to Vrndavan, and he could have stayed anywhere, because in those days there's so many ashrams, and so many of them, had rooms they wanted to rent out. But Prabhupada chose to stay at the Radha Damodar temple, because the Radha Damodar temple is so strongly connected with Srila Rupa Goswami. His bhajan kutir is there. His samadhi is there. He stayed there. For quite some years. So Prabhupada, in order to get that mercy from Srila Rupa Goswami, he stayed at the Radha Damodar temple. Yes, so, and even we understand that Srila Rupa Goswami appeared to Prabhupada while Prabhupada was staying at the Radha Damodar temple, and encouraged him. And Prabhupada, if you're familiar with his rooms at the Radha Damodar temple, you would know that where he would take prasadam, there is a sort of a window type of thing, which is looking straight out at Srila Rupa Goswami's samadhi. And these great devotees who have their samadhis, they're considered to be personally present there. Yes, right. So, here now, devotees, I'm going to read some prayers to you. Prayers to Rupa Goswami. And at the end of the prayers, it'll take a good 5 minutes or maybe more to read through them all. But they're really beautiful. And at the end, the last sort of half dozen, Sanatana Goswami is included. Otherwise, at the beginning and like 3/4 of all these prayers, they're just to Rupa, but then at the end, Sanatana is included also. So here we go, devotees. And this will just give us a sort of a perspective for understanding how special Srila Rupa Goswami is, and Sanatana as we get to the end. What extraordinary devotees. And it will help us to appreciate and respect Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami. So the glory of Sri Rupa is endless, and whoever describes that glory in any form can be praised everywhere. In Chaitanya Chandrodaya Natak, Sri Kali Karnapur Goswami states that Sri Rupa Goswami is the most suitable person as the inheritor of Swarup Damodar and of Sri Radha. And he is the ultimate resting place of Sri Radha. Sri Rupa is the form of true love and devotion. Lord Chaitanya empowered Sri Rupa to explain his own love and devotion and propagate that within the world. The Lord manifested his own leelas through Sri Rupa. Sadhana Dipika states that the followers of the Bhakti cult must not keep the company with those who have divorced themselves from Sri Rupa's doctrine on love and devotion. Simply by the grace of Sri Rupa, one can understand the truths of his philosophy. Again and again, I worship the lotus feet of Sri Rupa. In Prema Bhakti Chandrika, Sri Narottam says that Sri Rupa has occupied a place in the heart of Sri Krishna Chaitanya. He says, "Oh Prabhu Rupa, when will you give me a place beneath your feet?" Sadhana Dipika also says, "O tongue, always sing the name of Sri Rupa. O mind, always remember Sri Rupa." The personification of kindness. O head, always bow to Sri Rupa, the embodiment of grace. Simultaneously remember to worship Sri Raghunath Das Goswami, the inseparable friend of Sri Rupa. The wonderful attributes of Sri Rupa Goswami have been described by learned men in various ways. If Rupa were not born in the Kali Yuga, who would distribute love of Krishna throughout the world? Who would renounce all pleasures, worship Vrndavan, and discuss the books of the Bhakti cult? Only the swans could separate the milk from the water. Simultaneously, who could have understood the activities of Krishna in Vrndavan? And who could explain the love of Sri Radha and Krishna? Sri Krishna is pleased with anyone who attempts to praise him through Rupa. Not only laymen, but even Sri Chaitanya himself liked to praise the qualities of Sri Rupa. It is well known that Sri Rupa Goswami was the life of the associates of the Lord. A large number of the associates of Lord Chaitanya tried to sing the glory of Sanatana and Rupa, but could not describe them completely. All glories to Sanatana and Rupa, my very life, who gave direction to countless people. They were the only persons who knew the Vaishnava practices. Within Vrndavan, they were the reservoirs of natural love and mercy. They were oceans of kindness and friends of the poor. They were the foremost amongst devotees. Only Sri Rupa and Sanatan knew how to behave according to the teachings of the Bhagavad and other bhakti scriptures. All three worlds praised their character. The dust of their lotus feet cooled the earth from the scorching rays of the sun of Kali. They continually worshipped Sri Vyasadeva and the holy feet of Sri Radha. All glories to Sri Rupa and Sanatan, the jewels of all ascetics, who had unflinching devotion to Sri Radha and Krishna. Giving up all worldly pleasures, they sang the glories of the groves of Vrndavan and the feet of Sri Radha. Therefore these two brothers were gifts from Sri Chaitanya, the ocean of mercy, and in their absence I have become an orphan. Sorry, that was a bit long, but it's deep. It's beautiful. Very amazing. Yes, so Srila Prabhupada wanted to really present Rupa Goswami and his teachings. Therefore, among the very first books Prabhupada made were Nectar of Devotion and Nectar of Instruction. Yes. Okay, so now some historical notes about the life of Srila Rupa Goswami. So he appeared in this world in 1489 and left this world in 1564. He appeared in Bangladesh, near current-day Jessore. Then later moved to Ramakeli, which is in West Bengal, northern West Bengal. Yes. Although his family was from Karnataka. They were South Indian Saraswat Brahmins. So there were three brothers. Sanatan was the oldest, as I said. Rupa was in the middle, and Vallabha or Anupam was the youngest. And Vallabha or Anupam is the father of Srila Jiva Goswami. And even before meeting Lord Chaitanya, Rupa, particularly Rupa, was already quite famous amongst the Gaudiya Vaishnavas. He had written some books. Some of you may be familiar with Hamsadutta. Some of you may, those of you who haven't. It's a very amazing, small book, not very big. You know, I don't know, it's probably 64 pages or something along those lines. Hamsadutta, Hamsa means swan, and Dutta means carrier, so the swan carrier. And what it is Lalita Devi speaking to a swan after Krishna has left Vrindavan, sometime after Krishna has left Vrindavan, and she is appealing to the swan to take a message to Krishna on behalf of the gopis. And, you know, we won't go into it in detail, but it's truly amazing. Truly amazing. So Rupa Goswami had written that before meeting Lord Chaitanya, while they were in Ramakeli in northern West Bengal. In those days, Ramakeli, up in northern West Bengal, was the capital of Bengal. Yeah. And they were, at that time, they were employed by Hussain Shah, Nawab Hussain Shah, who was not exactly the king, but he was like the of Bengal, more or less. And he had been told by his Muslim guru that there are these two extremely learned Brahmin boys who are endowed with all good qualities. If you appoint them as your ministers, then you'll have a very opulent kingdom. So Nawab Hussain Shah forced them, Rupa and Sanatan, forced them to work for him. Forced them means that he gave them an offer they couldn't refuse. Means either you work for me or I kill you. But I won't just kill you, I'll kill all your family members and many other members of the devotee community. So therefore they were forced to work for Nawab Hussain Shah in his government of Bengal, and even his government extended down into northern Orissa. And Rupa was renamed. He accepted another name, BCAIS. It's like, I guess, what would you say? It's not Arabic, is it? I don't think it's Arabic. It's Urdu. It's like an Urdu name. BCAIS means private secretary. And Sanatana Goswami was called Sakara Malik. And he was like the prime minister. And he was running the whole kingdom, or the whole area, big area that Hussain Shah was controlling. While they were in Ramakeli, they both they constructed a replica of Vrndavan, Radha Kund, Shama Kund, and other features of Vrndavan. They sort of replicated around Ramakeli. Yes. And eventually, anyway, in 1514, Lord Chaitanya visited Ramakeli. It was his first trip to Vrndavan. Actually, he didn't make it to Vrndavan that time. It was only the second trip he managed to reach Vrndavan. But this first trip, he just got part of the way. Didn't get out of Bengal, actually. But on this first trip, he went to Ramakeli to meet Rupa and Sanatan. And yes, it's a bit of a long story, but the Nawab was there in Ramakeli when Lord Chaitanya came. So Rupa and Sanatan and Anupam, who was also a very great devotee, the three brothers, they had to come to meet Lord Chaitanya in the middle of the night in order to avoid the Nawab. So there's a description in Chaitanya Charitamrita of them meeting Lord Chaitanya, and it's really quite amazing. So they came sort of in the middle of the night, and they met Lord Nityananda and Haridas Thakur, who then went and told Lord Chaitanya that these two special people have come to see you. So now, bear in mind, Rupa and Sanatan were working for the Muslims, and effectively they were running the whole administration of the Muslim government in Bengal, including current-day Bangladesh, and then down into northern Orissa. So support, not just supporting, but managing the Muslim government, which they were not happy to do at all. So, let me just read a few verses from Chaitanya Charitamrita. In great humility, Both brothers took bunches of straw between their teeth. That's a sign of humility. We do a seminar on humility. And at one point, it goes on for a few days, like all day, for 3 or 4 days. And at some point we give everyone a little, not very big, but little bunch of straw and tell them they must hold it between their teeth in our seminar on humility. And some of the devotees, they really like to do that. So they came with straw between their teeth. It's a traditional way of expressing humility. Yeah. And each binding a cloth around his neck, they fell down like rods before the Lord. The 2 brothers cried, but then got up, and again taking straw between their teeth, they humbly offered their prayers with folded hands. They said, "Sir, we belong to the lowest class of men, and our associates in employment are also of the lowest type. Therefore, we cannot introduce ourselves to you. We feel very much ashamed standing before you. Dear Lord, let us inform you that no one is more sinful than us, nor is there any offender like us. Even if we wanted to mention our sinful activities, we would immediately become ashamed and want to speak of giving them up. Dear Lord, you have incarnated to deliver the fallen souls. You should consider that in this world there is none so fallen as us. You have delivered the 2 brothers Jagai and Madai, but to deliver them you did not have to exert yourself very much. The brothers Jagai and Madai belonged to the Brahmin caste, and their residence was in the holy place of Navadvip. They never served low-class persons, nor were they instruments to abominable activities, which they considered themselves to be. Instruments for the Muslim government, many aspects of which were very abominable, to do with meat eating, cow killing. Jagai and Madai had but one fault. They were addicted to sinful activity. However, volumes of sinful activity can be burned to ashes simply by a dim reflection of the chanting of your holy name. We too are millions and millions of times inferior to Jagai and Madai. We are more degraded, fallen and sinful than they. Actually, we belong to the caste of meat eaters because we are servants of meat eaters. Indeed, our activities are exactly like those of meat eaters. Because we always associate with such people, we are inimical towards the cows and Brahmins. If you simply deliver us by your transcendental strength, then certainly your name will be known as Patita Pavana, the Saviour of the fallen souls. Let us submit one piece of information before you, dear Lord. It is not at all false, but is full of meaning. It is this: if you are not merciful upon us, then it will be very, very difficult to find more suitable candidates for your mercy. So then Lord Chaitanya stopped them and said, speaking to Sanatan, "My dear Sakara Malak, from this day your names will be changed to Srila Rupa and Srila Sanatan. Now please abandon your humility, for my heart is breaking to see you so humble." So that's interesting, isn't it, devotees? So he changed their names on the spot. Yes. Yeah. And shortly after, they managed to escape from the service of Nawab Hussain Shah. Let's go on to some pastimes. Let's go on to some pastimes. Let's see. So, Srila Rupa Goswami, he stayed in different places. He stayed at Radha Damodar Rupa Goswami stayed at Radha Damodar quite a lot of the time. He has his bhajan kutiras there, and as we said, his samadhi is there, his transcendental body is interred there. But he also, another place where he stayed was at Tirkadamba, which is near Nandagram. Yeah, and there's a few other places he stayed. Those are the two main ones that I'm aware of. Yeah. And here is an interesting pastime. It was the appearance day of Sanatana Goswami, his Rupa Goswami's older brother, and as we mentioned, he considered Sanatana to be his spiritual master, or one of his spiritual masters. So, at that time, Sri Rupa Goswami was staying at Tirkadamba, near Nandagram, and Sanatana Goswami was staying at Pavan Sarovar, which is also near Nandagram, but just sort of around the other side. It's probably 2 or 3, maybe something, couple of kilometers from Tirkadamba around to Pavan Sarovar. But it was Srila Sanatana Goswami's appearance day, his birthday. And Rupa Goswami, feeling himself, he was in the mood of a disciple. He wanted to offer some service to his spiritual master on the spiritual master's appearance day. So he thought, what I would like to do, I would like to make some nice sweet rice and then take it around to Pavan Sarovar, a few kilometers away, and give it to Sanatana Goswami, and seeing he's like my guru. But at that time, Tirkadamba was just in the middle of the forest, probably about 1 kilometer away from the village itself of Nandagram. So it's just, it's very remote, extremely remote. So he's thinking, desiring to cook some sweet rice, but how's he going to do it? No supermarket. Can you believe it, devotees? There was life before supermarkets. No supermarket, so he couldn't get the ingredients to make sweet rice. First of all, you need rice, then you need milk, then you need sugar. I mean, those are the most basic ingredients. Without those, you can't have sweet rice. And there are other things you can add also. You can add cardamom and some spices and things if you want. But at least you need milk, rice and sugar. And he didn't have anything. He just didn't have anything at all. So in his mind he was thinking, I'd so much like to do that. But he understood, I can't. It's just kind of hopeless situation. Suddenly, out of the forest, out of nowhere, came a young gopi girl, one of the local cowherd girls, just a young girl, like 10 or something like that. And she was carrying 3 pots, clay pots. And she just walked up to him, said, "Here, Baba, take these." And he took them, and he looked inside them. What was there? Take a guess. Rice, milk, and sugar, and maybe some spices. And he couldn't believe it. How did this happen? It's not possible. Yeah, it's just not possible. But, yeah, how on earth could it happen? He's just looking at them, then he looked up to thank the girl. She had vanished. She was just not there. Not that she walked away quickly, but she just like disappeared. And he didn't really know what to make of it. But anyway, he thought, wow, this is Krishna's mercy. So he cooked up some really nice sweet rice. It was like super rice. Like what they call Dehradun basmati rice. Long grain rice. Very fine. Anyway, he cooked it up and made this sweet rice. Then he walked around a couple of kilometers or so to Pavan Sarovar, where Sanatana Goswami was staying. And he came in and he said, "Here, my dear brother, my dear spiritual master, this is a gift from me for your appearance day. Please take it." And I missed. He asked the girl, not that he asked, the girl just told him. When the girl brought those ingredients, she told him, there was a wedding in the village, and these things were left over. And my mother told me just to go out into the forest, find some Baba, and just give them to him. So Sanatana Goswami takes this, nice, quite substantial pot of sweet rice and looks at it and smells it. And he asked Rupa Goswami, "Where did you get this?" And Rupa Goswami said, "Well, there was this one girl. She just appeared out of the forest. She gave these things to me. She told me there was a wedding in the forest, in the village, and this was left over, and so she gave it to me." Sanatana Goswami tasted some of the sweet rice, and he became like overpowered with ecstatic symptoms. And Sanatana Goswami said, "I am living in the village. There was no wedding in the village." That was Srimati Radharani. So he said, Sanatana Goswami said, "I have tasted the remnants of Jagannath. I have tasted the remnants of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself, and of the remnants of many deities of Radha and Krishna, but I've never tasted anything like this." That was Srimati Radharani. "And you have made me accept service from Srimati Radharani." And he put down the pot and started crying. that, I cannot accept service from Radharani. So then, Sanatana Goswami sitting there, crying, feeling just very sort of humiliated, even you could say, but very humbled that Radharani had arranged this for him. And then, you know what Sanatana Goswami did? He said to Rupa Goswami, give me that sweet rice again. So that both of them, they shared the sweet rice. And as they were taking mouthfuls of sweet rice, their tears were dripping into the sweet rice. And that's a famous story about Srila Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami. Very famous story. And you may have seen, there are some versions of Nectar of Instruction on the cover of which is Rupa Goswami sitting at Tir Kadamba writing, and one girl is approaching carrying some pots. Have you seen that version of Nectar of Instruction? You haven't seen it. He hasn't seen it. You haven't seen it. Seen it? Seen it? You've seen it? You can ask her. Yeah. Yes, right. So Rupa Goswami, sometimes he's staying at Radha Damodar. Sometimes he's staying at Tir Kadamba. Sometimes he would stay at a place called Nandagat. Nandagat. We'll tell you something more about Nandagat when we talk about Srila Jiva Goswami. Or maybe Sanatana, maybe tomorrow Sanatana Goswami. Yeah. So, anyway, Rupa Goswami was always overpowered with transcendental love for Radha and Krishna. And his heart, but he's in separation. He's in separation from Radha and Krishna. And so they say that, well, one day, Rupa Goswami was there at Tir Kadamba discussing Radha and Krishna's pastimes in separation with a group of Vaishnavas. As the discussion was going on, all the Vaishnavas were crying and fell to the ground unconscious. The heart of Rupa Goswami was burning like a large fire, yet he did not disclose this fact. As Rupa Goswami exhaled, his breath touched one devotee who was burned by the heat, and blisters formed on his body. Seeing this, everyone became astonished. Such are the activities of Srila Rupa Goswami. What more can I say? And when he was there at Tir Kadamba, Tir Kadamba even now is a very beautiful place. Well, there's one devotee staying there who, looks after it very nicely. And there's all sorts of flowering trees around, and, it's just really very, very nice. So in those days, when Rupa Goswami was living there, it was the same. It was like that. Flowering trees and the big Kadamba tree itself, because it's called Tir Kadamba. So the big Kadamba tree itself. So Rupa Goswami, there he would write. He wrote most of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu there and other literatures there, Uddhava Sandesh. He wrote there. So, and as he's writing about the pastimes of Radha and Krishna, like, if you read the Nectar of Devotion, you'll see it's just full of pastime after pastime after pastime of particularly Radha and Krishna and the gopis and other devotees and Krishna. So, yes, when he would describe a pastime of separation, then the trees, the flowering trees, seeing Rupa Goswami going deep into this mood of transcendental separation, the flowering trees would drop their flowers. But then when he would write about Radha and Krishna, then meeting, then immediately flowers would appear again on all the trees. New flowers would come. Now I'm going to read to you a description of a very amazing pastime. And in a way it's a very instructive pastime. It's called the incident of the unknowing offense, from Bhakti Ratnakara. So listen to this, devotees. Please be always careful in your dealings with the devotees. Let not ill feelings arise in the devotees' hearts. If the devotees think ill of you, that will be a great impediment to your progress. Now, I will tell an anecdote to reveal this truth. One day in Vrndavan, as he was wrapped in meditation, Srila Rupa Goswami felt great bliss in his heart. This is what he saw in his meditation. As the Sakhis were decorating Sri Radha, Lord Krishna, standing behind her, watched. Radhika did not know that Krishna was watching. Krishna revealed his presence to the Sakhis. This brought great joy to their hearts. In wonderful ways, the gopis braided and decorated Radha's hair. Then they placed a mirror before her. As she gazed at the beauty of her face, Radha also saw Lord Krishna's moonlight face in the mirror. She had not known he was there. Yeah. Radha was very embarrassed. Quickly she covered her entire body with a cloak. The Sakhis happily laughed at this, and Srila Rupa Goswami also laughed. Now we must just understand what's going on. Srila Rupa Goswami would chant at least 64 rounds a day, and as he was chanting, he would enter into the pastimes of Radha and Krishna in his Manjari form. In this case, Radharani, the gopis are dressing and decorating Radharani for her to meet with Krishna, but they're doing it without Krishna knowing. But then Krishna comes up behind Radharani, but he indicates to the gopis, like, don't say anything, just act like everything is normal. So they did like that, decorating her. And actually the description is that Krishna came up behind Radharani. One of the gopis was plaiting her hair, but Krishna took over and he plaited her hair. And of course when he touched her hair, she got, like a very explosive feeling. She didn't know it was Krishna. She just thought, oh, this gopi is doing my hair so nicely. But then, as described here, she looked in the mirror to see how she looked, and there behind her she saw Krishna. So she felt very embarrassed. But Rupa Goswami, he is in the pastime in his transcendental body, whereas his material body, his regular body, is sitting there and is oblivious to what's going on around. What's going on around. So, at that moment arrived a Vaishnava who was very eager to see Sri Rupa. Seeing Sri Rupa laughing because his body laughed. He was not conscious externally, but his body laughed. Seeing Sri Rupa laughing, the Vaishnava did not say anything. Very sorrowful, he approached Srila Sanatana Goswami. The Vaishnava said to Sanatana, I went to see Sri Rupa, but when he saw me, he suddenly burst into laughter. Because he feels that Rupa Goswami is laughing at me because he thinks I'm stupid. So he thinks I'm just a joke. So he's laughing at me. But he doesn't understand. Rupa Goswami cannot see him because he's absorbed internally on the transcendental platform. Yes. My heart filled with sorrow. I did not say anything. I do not know why he acted in that way. I've come to ask you of it. Sri Sanatana then explained the true reason for Sri Rupa's laughter. Hearing it, the Vaishnava became repentant at heart. The Vaishnava said, why did I approach him at that moment? Not understanding his heart, I committed an offense. The Vaishnava became very agitated. Sanatana Goswami made him become calm and peaceful again. Sri Rupa was at that moment plunged in seeing the Lord's pastimes. But when the Vaishnava felt offended, Sri Rupa's bliss suddenly disappeared. Agitated, Sri Rupa looked in the four directions. In his heart, he was certain that some person had come there. I did not honor the person that came. I committed an offense. Thinking in this way, Sri Rupa went to Srila Sanatana Goswami's place. Because the old Vaishnava, who Rupa Goswami apparently laughed at, he didn't understand, so he was thinking, how can I understand this? And he thought, I will ask Sanatana Goswami. And now Rupa Goswami can't understand how he suddenly just sort of came out of the pastimes and he couldn't go back into them. So wondering what's going on, he decided to go and see Sanatana Goswami. Seeing Sri Rupa coming, that Vaishnava approached him. Falling on the ground, that Vaishnava offered his respects. To Sri Rupa, he very humbly said, I committed an offense. O great soul, please forgive me. I did not understand how you were wrapped in meditation when I came. Standing before Srila Rupa Goswami, the Vaishnava, prayed, please kindly forgive my offense. If you are merciful to me, then my heart can become peaceful. This I say to you. Hearing these words, Sri Rupa became very agitated at heart. Falling to the ground, he offered respectful obeisances. Folding his hands, he said, I have no power to say how great was the offense I committed to you. Please kindly forgive my offense. Both devotees were very humble. Both were filled with the nectar of pure devotion. They both forgave each other. Then they both became peaceful. They both approached Srila Sanatana Goswami. For many moments, they were all plunged in the nectar of talking about Lord Krishna. Everyone heard of this incident with Srila Rupa Goswami. Hearing of it, everyone became filled with wonder. O my brothers and sisters, O my brothers, please be very careful in dealing with the Vaishnavas. Give them even your very breath, so they will forgive your offense. Be careful. Do not see a Vaishnava's faults. Always praise the Vaishnavas. The ancient great devotees say, no one understands the ways of a Vaishnava. Through his dear devotees, Lord Sri Krishna Chaitanya has taught this truth to us. Hold the devotees' lotus feet to your head and always dive in the nectar of pure devotional service. Hare Krishna. One more pastime of Srila Rupa Goswami, just one more. Rupa Goswami understood that Govinda, the original deity of Govinda, must be somewhere around Vrndavan, even around what is now Vrndavan town. He understood must be. And so he looked and looked and looked. In fact, he looked in every room of every house of every Brijbasi in that Vrndavan area. But he couldn't find Govinda. So one day, just somehow or other, one Brijbasi came to Rupa Goswami as Rupa Goswami is just in anxiety. How will I ever find Govinda? So one day by chance a Brijbasi came to Rupa Goswami. Very, very tranquil, very calm, peaceful, very quiet. And he asked Rupa Goswami, why is it you look so sad? Rupa Goswami was quite fascinated by this Brijbasi. He explained the story to him. And the Brijbasi told him, don't be anxious, because there is a place just near here named Gomatil in Vrndavan, where a certain cow comes every day at midday on the top of that hill and just releases her milk onto the top of that hill every day. And the Brijbasi said, Govinda is underneath that hill. So then the Brijbasi took Rupa Goswami to that hill. So then, after showing Rupa Goswami that hill, the bridge bussy vanished, disappeared. And Rupa Goswami fell on the ground unconscious. So anyway, then he checked his emotions, told the bridge buses from that area that here is Govinda, Sri Govinda Dev. So they all came and they dug very carefully on the top of that hill until at last they unearthed the deity of Govinda Dev, who was as beautiful as millions of cupids. And they also found a small deity of Yoga Maya, the child of Mother Yashoda, who Kamsa had tried to kill, as described in the beginning of the 10th canto of the Bhagavatam. Yes. So, when they found Govinda, everyone came, everyone was attracted to that place. Even Lord Brahma and other demigods came disguised as humans to offer respects to Govinda. And Rupa Goswami immediately sent a letter to Lord Chaitanya in Puri. And when Lord Chaitanya heard Govinda has been found, he couldn't control his happiness on receiving the news. Hare Krishna. Srila Rupa Goswami Ke.